Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Selena Lee Anderson, and I am an environmental and Aboriginal law lawyer. I'm based in Vancouver, which is on the west coast of Canada. My practice, I primarily work, most of my clients are project proponents, and I also work for an increasing number of Indigenous communities on working on their resource development projects. I work across sectors from oil and gas and mining to infrastructure, as well as renewable energy projects. My area of expertise is also climate change law, and I'm very happy to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Stefaniuk. I'm a lawyer in the city of Winnipeg in the province of Manitoba in Canada, right in the middle of the country. I practice environmental and natural resource law primarily, and I'm glad to be here where it's a little bit warmer, because when I checked the weather at my home on Friday night, the low temperature was going to be minus 24 degrees. And so it's good to be here where it's plus 32. When I left my home, there was a pile of snow outside my front door that was 2.5 meters high. So nice to be here where it's green.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me here. My name is Laura Farina. I live in Northern Canada, and I work for the government on mining legislation as well as other types of legislation. I also advise my department on mining law matters as well as other legal matters that come up for the department. And I echo the sentiments about welcoming the warm weather. I think we're having a warm snap in my territory, so that's about minus 20, but we've had minus 30s for January and February. So thank you for having me.
Good morning, everyone. I was already introduced. I'm Jennifer Johnson. I'm a Canadian. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, another province in Canada, but I'm currently based on the south coast of Kenya. Yay! Because I don't like the cold weather, as they pointed out. So I'm based in Kwale, where Base Titanium is operating, so I'm closer to the activities there, but I handle Tanzania and Uganda as well for this project. And as Aya said, I've been on this project since 2017, and so this is the last 9 months of the project. It's very sad. I'm very sad to see it end, but I hope we can accomplish a lot in the next 9 months, and hopefully maybe we can also get an extension if we can convince the Canadian government that we still have work to do. So I'm looking forward to picking everybody's brains on what we do next in this project and what we can do maybe after this project. We like third 2.0. So I look forward to hearing your opinions and your great ideas. Thank you.
Yes, and to the next table, please. Yeah, this one.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Hamudi Ismail Majamba. I'm a member of TLS, but I also I teach law at the University of Dar es Salaam. My majors are natural resources, environmental law, and mining law. I happen to have been in Canada for 2 years, 1993 to 94, I was in Ontario. That's when I did my own. It's nice to see you guys again. I'll also be a speaker later on, so I'll talk more about myself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Isa Fusalaba Mkonda, and I'm a legal counsel working for the Vice President's Office. My area of specialization is in environment and natural resources law, and I'll also be a speaker during the day. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the table of speakers, but Professor Mood is also my lecturer when I was doing my undergraduate and master's. I believe a lecturer to some of advocates in here as well. Karibu, we always recognize our teachers. Hope we are doing you good. Yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm also one of the product from Professor Majamba. My name is Elizabeth. I work for Anglo Gold Ashanti. We have an operation here in Geita Gold Mining. I'm a legal counsel where I involve myself together with my colleague in community engagement, consultations, local content issues, community grievance, and other legal matters. I'm also a member of the Tanganyika Law Society. And I've also been a part of the program from where we started. I've learned a lot, networking a lot, especially on how to take care of ourselves as a lawyers, trauma-informed lawyer. That was a new thing to me, and it has changed my life. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Matamu Fungo. I am a senior legal officer from the Parliament of Tanzania.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Achilles Romwat. I'm currently working with East Africa Law Society as a programs manager in the SHIELD project. I'm happy to be here with you guys, and hope we shall get a lot of information that will inform our next course of action to be taken here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is the table from some of the representatives from the local government in Mwanza and Geita, and a group of women representatives. So they will speak in Kiswahili, some of them, but they're translators. I hope you have devices that you can wear and listen when they speak in Kiswahili. It will be translated. Karibuni.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shamsa Diwani from Tanzania Women Miners Association. I'm the chairperson of Advisory Committee of Tanzania Women Miners Association. And also I'm with the FADEF, Foundation for ASM Development, Tanzania, as a board member. Thank you.
Asante. Kwa jina naitwa Nura Teathumani, ni mchimbaji mdogo mkoa wa Geita. Nashukuru sana CLD wamenipa upeo na uelewa. Asante sana.
I'm Pauline Alex, Chief Executive Director of New Life Children's Center Organization, NELICO. The organization which is partnering with Canadian Bar Association and Tanganyika Law Society to implement the SHIELD project in Geita. I'm very proud, I'm very happy to be here today with my women's group from Geita who are already empowered through this project. And I'm very curious to learn more from this forum. Thank you so much.
Kwa jina naitwa Christina Gamba, ni msaidizi wa kisheria, natoka shirika linaitwa GELAC, lakini pia ni mwenyekiti wa walagabishi ambao tumepewa mafunzo na mradi wa SHIELD. Tunashughulika kuisaidia jamii, kuielimisha katika masuala mbalimbali, na nashukuru sana mradi wa SHIELD nimeweza kujifunza sheria, hasa sheria za madini. Ni kitu ambacho katika usaidizi wangu wa kisheria sikuwa nimeelewa, lakini sasa nimekuwa msaidizi wa kisheria ambaye ninajikita kifua mbele nikiwa nazijua sheria hasa za madini na ninaisaidia jamii. Asanteni sana.
Kwa jina naitwa Dorothea Ernest Shigi, natokea Geita na ni mheshimiwa diwani. Mimi nashukuru sana shirika la SHIELD limeweza kutufungua sisi akina mama, tumeweza kuchangamka, tumeweza kujali na kuelewa haki zetu, namna ya ushiriki na ushirikishwaji. Yani tumenufaika na tunashukuru mno. Mungu azidi kusimama na hawa wanasheria waendelee na kubarikiwa na Mwenyezi Mungu ili kazi iendelee. Asanteni.
Asante sana. And to the next table.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matilda Mchomvo. I'm a Deputy Secretary, General Secretary of Tanzania Women Miners Association. And we deal with artisanal miners all over Tanzania. We have about 2,000 members of women in mining sector. I'm happy to be here with you and to learn more from you. Thank you.
We go for ladies first, or I just proceed? Because my table is full.
Proceed, please.
All right, thank you. My name is Jimmy Luhende. I work with Action for Democracy Local Governance, a local NGO who in this program were highly involved in developing capacity of the local government authorities. We did quite a lot of trainings and engagements with them, of course with Waheshimiwa Diwani. So I look forward for quite interesting discussion today. Thank you very much.
My name is Valeria Makonda from Data Town Council, Community Development Officer. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rose McKinney. I work with Tamico, the Long Form Estate Mining Corporation here in Dar es Salaam. My career is health, safety and environment, but I'm an environmental scientist, a senior environmental scientist. So I advise the corporation on health, safety and environmental matters. We deal with different projects, mining projects, mineral processing, environmental consultancies, and those are just few of them. So I'm very curious to learn from you guys, and if needed, I can offer my contribution for the area that I'm capable of. Thank you.
Thank you. The lonesome gentleman here.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Awad Ali Said, member of Zanzibar Law Society, and I have been practicing law in Zanzibar as an advocate of the High Court of Zanzibar for about 30 years now.
Morning, everyone. My name is called Robert Odundo. I'm a journalist from the government paper Daily News. I'm here purely for news coverage.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Komanya. I'm a senior program officer, corporate accountability and environmental justice from the Legal and Human Rights Center. And what we do is we advocate for implementation of the United Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights with all issues regarding to human rights in business. That means we work with the government on its duty to protect citizens, but also responsibilities upon companies. But also we're doing the part of environmental justice and climate change being part of it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Luongo. I'm coming from Haki Marine Organization. We are based in Arusha, but also I'm a beneficiary of this project. I was blessed to attend training in 2019.
Habari za asubuhi, naitwa Baraka Thomas. Mimi ni wakili ambaye pia nilipata mafunzo katika mradi wa SEED, lakini pia nikashirikisha kuwafundisha wengine pia sheria hizi, ambapo pia ni wakina mama pale wamesema kwamba wanajua sheria za madini, mmoja wapo niliowajengea uwezo baada ya kuwa nimejengewa uwezo. Asanteni sana.
Good morning. My name is Ashakila Mayumana. I am the gender advisor of SEED project since 2017. I'm glad to be here and mostly to look at our women who are so equipped and looking forward to hearing from all of us. Thank you.
Habari za asubuhi. Kwa jina naitwa Koresma Manko, nafanya kazi na shirika la Niliko Geita kama mratibu wa masuala ya huduma za kisheria na elimu ya kisheria kwa jamii. Na mimi pia ni mmoja kati ya wanasheria ambao wamepata mafunzo kwa ajili ya kusaidia wakina mama na kutoa msaada wa kisheria pale ambapo inahitajika. Asante.
Good morning. My name is Bernard Musia, Director of Geita Legal Aid Organization. The organization deals with women empowerment, economically, and dealing with women in subordination. We thank the KRS and the SEED for cooperating with my organization, and now hopefully women have been now involved in fully in in the extractive industry. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mwanamani Bakri Kidaya. I'm geologist by profession, principal geologist from Ministry of Energy. As I heard from introduction, most of them were coming from minerals, hard rocks. I decided to switch to the soft rock. As working in the ministry, I deal most with the policy, legal and regulatory framework pertaining to petroleum industry. But interesting enough, I once upon before joining the ministry, where I worked for 20 years, I worked in Taoma, Tanzania Women Miners Association as technical officer. So I'm glad to see you, Taoma. You are here. Happy to see you. And as a person, it's the first time to participate in this forum. So I'm looking forward to hear a lot from you. Thank you.
My name is Terence Thomas Ngole. I'm Assistant Commissioner for Minerals, but currently borrowed by the Geological Survey of Tanzania as the National Director for the Mineral Resources Data Bank, based in Dodoma.
Good morning. My name is Aisha Alisinda. I've been involved with the SEED project since its inception in 2017 as a member of the National Advisory Committee and also as a national trainer. So I've trained lawyers on natural resources laws, ethics for lawyers, and other topics in relation to the extractive industry at large. I'm happy to be here to continue with the dialogue. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Irene Musoko. I'm an advocate. I'm also a member of the Tanganyika Law Society, and I'm also a product of Professor Majamba. I'm here as a rapporteur.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vivian Swan from TLS Secretariat.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nelson Frank. I work with Tanganyika Law Society as a seed project manager responsible for the management of seed activities in Tanzania. Thank you so much. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the introductions. I see there's quite a mix of us. Although I did not hear of anyone from Uganda Law Society. Did I miss that by any chance? They are not here. They are not among the participants. All right. So thank you. There's people who came in while we were introducing each other. Can you please hand the mic to, yes, the gentleman who just walked in, so I may get to know him. And then the person responsible for the clip that will be on air shortly, kindly.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, good morning. My name is Samuel Kiondo. I'm a principal economist from the Ministry of Constitution and Legal Affairs, basically in the permanent sovereignty laws. I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana. Now we shall proceed to viewing the brief overview of what has happened with the project from inception. I know a lot of you said you're looking forward to learning, but from the few opening remarks that I heard from our speakers, today is a session that we are hoping to chart the way forward. So everyone has something to say, and I believe this will mark a good foundation. So let's enjoy the clip. Karibu.
Support Inclusive Resource Development SEED project in Tanzania is a partnership project between Tanganyika Law Society and the Canadian Bar Association.
I'm a member of the Canadian Bar Association, and I'm here with the Canadian Bar Association and Global Affairs Canada on the SEED project supporting inclusive resource development.
Mafunzo haya tunayoyafanya kwa mawakili wa Tanzania
ni mafunzo ambayo yanalenga kwanza kuwajengea uwezo wao kama wanasheria kuwa wabobevu na wataalam kwenye sekta ya madini, mafuta na gesi.
This project was designed to run for the period of 5 years from 2017 to 2022.
Na leo tumekusanyika hapa Double Chain kwa ajili ya kujifunza mambo mbalimbali yanayohusiana na mambo ya haki za binadamu, hususan katika swala la mazingira, afya na usalama mahali kazi.
This project had 2 intermediate outcomes. Number 1, increased engagement of East African law societies to advocate for law reform to reflect the principles of transparency, gender sensitivity, and accountability in the extractive industries. Number 2 is increased community participation, particularly women, in consultations, dialogue, negotiations, advocacy, and other initiatives to advance their rights related to the extractive industries.
In theory, the assumption was that, on the one hand, by increasing capacity of law society legal professionals through trainings by national and Canadian experts to engage in national law reform activities for increased transparency, gender sensitivity, and accountability in the governance of the extractive sector, there will be increased engagement of East African law societies to advocate for law reform to reflect the aforementioned principles in the extractive sector, which would eventually contribute to the increased sustainable economic growth for East Africans, in particular women and vulnerable groups affected by the extractive activities. On the other hand, at the community level, if the project increased public awareness of their rights, in particular women and vulnerable groups, with respect to the extractive industry activities, and simultaneously improved access for communities, especially women, impacted by the activities undertaken by the extractive industries to community and legal services, then there will be increased community participation to advance and protect their rights related to the activities undertaken by extractive industries, which would also increase their chances to realize increased sustainable economic growth.
In achieving these outcomes, CIRD Tanzania conducted several projects here in Tanzania. First, CIRD National Forum in April 2018 at Kunduchi Beach Hotel, Dar es Salaam. As part of roundtable meeting, CIRD attended Jukwaa la Uziduaji in Dodoma, November 2019, and participated in national advocacy platforms with key stakeholders in the justice system and extractive industry sector. In March 2019, CIRD finalized the comprehensive review of national laws and underlying policy frameworks through a gender lens to identify gaps and focus on areas for possible law reform. From March to September 2019, carried out gender-sensitive intensive training in core-selected areas related to the regulative frameworks in the extractive industry sector, human rights, and gender equality. In 2019, CIRD Tanzania engaged in national media houses in advocating and raising awareness on identified extractive industry law reform or advocacy issues related to extractive industry.
Chama cha wanasheria Tanganyika kimeamua kuwajengea uwezo wanasheria wanaosimamia rasilimali za madini, gesi na mafuta hapa nchini ili kuhakikisha mikataba mbalimbali ya utafutaji wa rasilimali hizo inawanufaisha kwanza wa Tanzania kabla ya watu wengine kutoka nje ya nchi.
The project produced public legal education materials and media programs for public legal education and awareness raising with Canadian technical experts and law specialists. SURD project also disseminated gender-sensitive public legal education and awareness-raising programs via paralegals, law offices, CBOs, NGOs, media outlets such as radio, publications, drama, SMS campaigns, community consultations, and much more. In July 2021, the project conducted training with relevant leaders guided by gender public legal education materials. The same year, 2021, training was held with women on regulatory frameworks and harms and the benefits of the extractive industry, such as environmental protection, local content, health, and wellness. On the same month of 2021, SURD Tanzania supported women's groups, CBOs, in advocacy actions and engaging with extractive industry related to legal regulatory frameworks. Again, the same month and the same year, SURD Tanzania conducted a paralegals training. SURD Tanzania has established a legal aid fund for women and continued advice provided through CBO's paralegal. It has been a successful journey in the execution of SURD project as it has impacted the law society as well as our communities.
Somo la ushiriki na ushirikishaji actually limechukua nafasi kubwa sana na hata hoja zilikuwa nzuri sana, watu wameweza kufunguka. Mimi binafsi katika jamii ambayo nimeishi na naishi, hicho kipengele ni bado hakijawa kipengele rafiki sana. Hata katika mambo ya siasa tu. Niliibuka mwaka jana katika kugombea, lakini changamoto ilikuwa wewe ni mwanamke, nigombea jimbo, lakini changamoto nilikutana nazo kwamba wewe ni mwanamke, wewe bado ni binti, umri wako bado ni mdogo. Je, utaweza kuchuana na hao baba au je utaweza kuchuana? Kwa hiyo naona bado. Kwa hiyo semina imefika wakati muafaka kabisa kwamba watu waone kwamba tuna haki ya kushiriki, tuna haki ya kushirikishwa, tuna hiyo haki ya kujitokeza na kushiriki hivi vitu. Kwa hiyo nitaenda kuwaelimisha pia jamii yangu kwamba wajue kwamba ni haki yetu kushirikishwa, lakini pia tuna haki ya kushiriki. Unaposhirikishwa lazima ushiriki.
Mfumo ule huo, mfumo wa makundi tuseme. Kwanza tumesoma kwa pamoja, lakini baadaye tukaenda kwenye makundi. Ule mfumo ni mzuri, kwanza unatujengea uwezo wanawake. Maana kuna mtu mwingine kuongea kwenye haraiki tu hivi ya watu saa nyingine anashindwa, lakini kwa pale tunabadilishana uzoefu. Kwa maana mtu anajikuta pale anaulizwa swali inawezekana akashindwa kulijibu, lakini mkiwa kwenye makundi yale anaweza kaongea vizuri sana, mambo yakaendelea. Lakini labda faida nilizozipata ni kufahamu kabisa mimi sheria ambayo inaweza ikanikomboa mimi mwanamke kama mwanamke. Sheria hizo, kuna sheria kama nilivyosema, sheria kubwa, lakini pia kuna sheria ndogo ndogo za mfano halmashauri, na wameulizwa madiwani viti maalum hapo akasema kuna sheria ambazo wamezitunga na zenyewe ili kuzifuku katika kuzifanyia kazi zinaleta manufaa katika jamii.
Nimesaidia sana watu wengi kuelekeza kwenda mahakamani pa kuweza kulalamika, pamoja na wakati mwingine wafanyakazi wengine wanaofanya kule kazi wanakuja na kueleza shida zao, jinsi mambo yanavyoenda kule, na kwetu tunajaribu kuelekeza ni wapi waende. Kwa kweli sasa hivi nimepanua wigo kwa mambo mengi. Kwanza ule pili, mimi mwenyewe nimeona kwamba namna gani natakiwa kufanya kazi.
Kuna TOS wao wanahusika na mambo ya kisheria. Kwa hiyo tumejaribu kuchakata mambo mengi, mambo mbalimbali kadha wa kadha. Hasa tumeliangalia swala zima la uchimbaji madini. Nimejifunza mambo mengi. Wanaweza wakapata msaada gani wa kisheria pindi pale watakapopata madhara au tatizo lolote, aidha kudhulumiwa haki zao za kimsingi, wanaweza wakaelekea wapi. Kwa hiyo nimeweza kufahamu kumbe wakipatwa na tatizo, changamoto, swala ambalo la kisheria, wanatakiwa waelekee kwenye vyombo vya kisheria ambao wanapatikana niliko.
Kwa katika majukumu yetu pia tunakwenda kumshana kwa masuala ya usiri, na hivyo yote anatakiwa ni mtu ambaye ana usiri, awe ni mtu anayekubalika katika jamii. Pia kuna mambo mengine tumekumbushana kama kufanya kazi kama timu. Unaweza kukuta una tatizo ambalo unaona kwamba mimi siwezi kulitatua, labda au pengine labda yule mtu aliyekuwa na tatizo anaweza kuwa anatumia lugha ambayo pengine sifahamu. Kwa hiyo unaweza nikaangalia paradigm ambayo ni lugha yake ambayo tunafanya naye kazi, tukafanya naye kazi.
We are so thankful to Canadian Bar Association and Tanganyika Law Society for such an impactful project, Surudi, Tanzania.
Thank you very much. That was the brief overview of the project from the inception to where we are right now. I hope everyone dissolved themselves into the presentation and they understood what has happened. But we will invite now Ms. Jennifer Johnson to just give small remarks on the clip. And then I will have a line of brief presentations from the following. I'm just mentioning their names so that they can prepare themselves. National trainer, Ms. Aisha Sinda, will come first. And then we will have Baraka Thomas Masubo, and then Mr. Quaresma Manko. And then we will have the gender advisor, Ms. Shakila Mayumana. John Stefania, John, are you here? You'll be right after Shakila when I call you up. Karibu, Ms. Johnson, please, for a few remarks.
First of all, thank you, Nelson, and the technical team for that great film that summarized our project. As I mentioned, we are at the last year of this project. It was a 5-year project, but we got an extension because of the pandemic, which halted some of our activities throughout the region. So I just wanted to say that most of our results have already been achieved at this point. We've definitely completed most of the output level results, which are all the trainings of the policy lawyers, the pro bono lawyers at the field level, paralegals, women champions, the referral pathway folks down in Gaeta. So we've accomplished a lot since the project began. Where we were a bit slow, the only one gap we have is at the policy level. We had a result that was expected to have Parliament adopt some of our policy or legislation, but as we can't control what Parliament does adopt or does not, we were unable to meet some of those targets which were a bit unrealistic. But otherwise, we've done a really, really good job, I think, in reaching all of our targets at this point in the project. And what I really like to see is Deborah and Miriam and Anima. They're talking about what they learned and how they feel empowered by the project. And this is the ultimate goal for this project, is that the people, especially women in Tanzania, are empowered with their rights and are able to act and have the agency to speak out. So it's really heartening to hear the testimonies of those women that were trained with Naliko, our pro bono lawyers, and with Nelson in Gaeta. So it's, for me, the most important thing to hear from them. And now we really want to do some case management. This is another really important area that Nelson will be focusing on with Pauline at Naliko moving forward for the next 9 months, so that we can actually bring some grievances to solutions in Gaeta with the proponent, Gaeta Gold. So I'm really happy, thanks Nelson for that great film, to be able to present this to our donor, the Canadian government, who will also be thrilled to see that women have been empowered. So that's the only thing I really wanted to add. Thank you.
And that's very important. Thank you very much for that brief summary. It has really enlightened everything that has been presented. Ms. Aisha, karibu.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As I introduced myself earlier, my name is Aisha Alisinda. I am SEED National Trainer and also a member of the National Advisory Committee. I have the honor of standing here in front of you to share my experience with SEED project and the lessons that I've learned along the way. I was fortunate to be one of the trainers for Tanzania on the project from 2017 to advocate for law reforms to reflect the principles of transparency, gender sensitivity, and accountability in the extractive industries in Tanzania. I'm passionate about community work, and particular legal education and training to lawyers and the community at large. And SEED project gave me an opportunity to give back to my society and share my experiences that I've gathered throughout my years of practice with others. I have impacted knowledge to about 70 participants in the projects on different topics in relations to natural resources, and in the process immediately increased my knowledge on the subject and also opened other doors in my careers and for others as well. Today, we witness here two of my trainees, Baraka and Elizabeth Karua, who were further involved in other projects of SEED to train the society on natural resources laws. This was very fulfilling to me as a lawyer. The program also attracted attendees from the civil society, from the government, private companies, and the Canadian Bar Association, and was an important forum for these diverse groups to engage in meaningful and valuable dialogue. We exchange ideas and experiences with technical experts from Canada who understand the importance of transparency, gender sensitivity, and accountability in the extractive sector. And this dialogue is critically important to increase community participation, particularly to women, to advance and protect their rights related to the extractive industries in Tanzania. During the project, I was struck by many commonalities between Canada and Tanzania. We all know that Canada is very advanced economically compared to Tanzania, but during the program I heard repeatedly about the resistance people face both in Canada and Tanzania when working on gender, principles of transparency, accountability, and also on trauma lawyers face when working with the rural poor and other disadvantaged groups in the extractive sector. SEED project further provided me as a trainer with the confidence and networks to achieve my career goals as a natural resources lawyer, and ultimately lead to be a positive contribution to my country. Reflecting back on the project, two key themes resonate with me. Particularly strongly, the importance of women participation in natural resources and the importance of land as an issue. I hope TLS and the Canadian Bar Association will continue to work to draw out the links among gender, land, and natural resources, and continue to advise on the best approach towards community empowerment, capacity building, and awareness raising. Lastly, I would like to thank you all for having traveled from near and far to honor us with your presence and contribute to the discussion that will follow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aisha. Oh, perfect, Mr. Baraka. I'll give you the compliments for keeping time. Asante.
Good morning once again. I was introduced. My name is Baraka Thomas, and I'm an advocate, and I'm dealing with natural resource law, particularly in oil and gas and mining. And I'm very glad to stand before you this morning because I'm among the few lawyers who get the training on the city project, and I'm very proud to see my trainer, my senior counsel, Aisha, and she was very brilliant during our training. And I'm standing here to share my experience and the lesson which I learned during the training way back in 2019, because it's the year which we get involved in the city project as advocates with some of the few who I see them here. Myself, the experience which CID impacted me is that there's two ways I will explain. One is through the advocacy and engagement with different stakeholders, particularly the policy makers, like Parliament of Tanzania. Because I've been working in the civil society, which is called Lawyers Environmental Action Team. One of the areas which we work on is through advocacy on the policy and legal changes in natural resource law. So once I get the training under the CID project, I involved in a number of the advocacy by policy makers, like Parliament, about some of the key issues which we discovered during the training and which I continue myself to do further analysis about the law. I have been engaged with analysis on gender gap in our law for women participation in extractive sector, the issue like the local content, and also the corporate social responsibility. We have been advocating to have the regulation to regulate corporate social responsibility in Tanzania, when we saw that every local government authority implement as they wish because there's no any guideline. The law just stipulates that the investor should do this and this, but there's no any regulation to regulate the same. So I saw that is the area which I was involved, or I'm involving with different policymakers. And the other area is training. I have been involving in different communities or host communities in various areas in Tanzania, particularly in mining sector, trying to teach or train them around various issues on the extractive sector, like local content, like I said, corporate social responsibility, but the engagement or the importance of the engagement in the decision making through the various projects in mining sector. So that is my experience. But another one is the CID project. After attending the CID project in 2019, it motivated myself to dig deeper about the law, or I get interested in the extractive sector. Then I decided to sponsor myself to study further, where I joined the University of Dar es Salaam to study Masters of Law in Oil and Gas. I was not sponsored by the CID project, but it was myself initiative. So that shouldn't be the credit of CID, but it's, on the other hand, it should be the credit because it gives me the motivations, because it's where I see the opportunity that I can tap in as a young lawyer so that I can help my community and my country at large, because I also come from the area where the large-scale mining is evolving here in Tanzania. So that is my experience. And the lesson which I learned during the training, I learned that the stability in legal framework is very important when the country makes decision to invest in the mining or oil and gas, because it's reduces the risk and also it creates the confidence to the investors. That's, as a lawyer, I take it as a lesson which I learned. But also I learned that there's a gender gap between our natural resource policies, particularly women engagement or participation in the extractive sector and the area which we are working on. But also I learned that the inclusive natural resource development is very key to be considered when we involve in these big projects. Community and all stakeholders should be involved in order to avoid the future or calamities or damage which may be involved, like Dutch disease, rent seeking, and also the project to get the social license to operate. That's among the lessons which I learned during the training. But lastly, but not least, I learned that during our training, it's more about theoretical. I thought that in some aspect, like environmental protection, we could at least do site visit in some of the maybe mining areas in order to see the compliance of environmental protection, because that is very, very key in our country. So I advise if there's be extension, and we pray that at least Canadian will sponsor here also give much time for the project, so that at least we could have the mixed theoretical part of it and also the practical aspect of it, because that makes the training very, very comprehensive. And so that's the lesson I learned, and with that remark, I thank you for your listening, and I'm very proud to be one of the products of the SEED project. As you know, now I'm the expert in oil and gas. I'll be using that knowledge to advise my government or the country which I love the most and my community. So thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baraka. That was a very comprehensive feedback. I see people nodding and appreciating what you've said. Next in line is Mr. Quaresma Manko. Apologies, John. I'll call you right after Shakila.
Good morning once again. My name is Manko Quaresma. I'm a legal aid coordinator from Geita, and I'm working for New Life Children's Center organization. And I'm extremely delighted to be part of this very important forum. But for the purpose of clarity and giving the real experience, I would like to use Swahili. So bear with me. Nafurahi kuwa hapa kwa sababu tumeambiwa tuelezee experience pamoja na kitu ambacho tumejifunza toka kwa mradi wa SEED. Experience ya kwanza ambayo mimi naweza nikaielezea katika mradi huu ni kwamba mwaka 2018 wakati tunafanya forum ya kwanza pale Kunduchi Beach Resort, ni experience nzuri ambayo nimependa kuisema. Nilikuwa ndo nimeajiriwa kazini na miezi miwili tu. Kwa hiyo wakati naanza kazi nikaanzia kufika kwenye forum, na kama mwanasheria nilikuwa nafahamu vitu vingi, lakini nilikuwa sijajua na base sehemu gani. Lakini baada ya kufika kwenye forum ya kwanza na tukakutana na swala zima la oil and gas katika swala zima la uziduaji au sekta ya extraction, nikaona ni sehemu nzuri sana ambayo mimi naweza nikaifanyia kazi, kwa sababu nimeanza kazi kama mratibu wa mashauri ya kisheria au mratibu wa msaada wa kisheria katika mkoa wa Geita. Kwa hiyo baada ya kuanza kazi hiyo na kukutanishwa na watu mbalimbali, nakumbuka Lamek au CEO wa TLS pamoja na Profesa Majamba, wakati kulikuwa kuna dina ya usiku, wakawa wananiambia hii ndio forum ya wewe kujifunza, kuchangamka na kukutana na watu wakubwa kama hivi. Kwa hiyo nashukuru kwa hilo, nililifanyia kazi, na baada ya kuchaguliwa kuwa mmoja kati ya watu waliopata mafunzo ya kama pro bono lawyer, na imenisaidia kwa kiasi kikubwa kwa sababu tumepata mafunzo, na kazi kubwa sisi tunaoifanya ni kusaidia wakina mama kwa kutoa msaada wa kisheria bure na kuelekeza watu ambao wanahitaji msaada wa kisheria katika mkoa wetu wa Geita. Kwa hiyo nimejifunza vikubwa, kwa sababu mwanzoni wakati tunaanza kulikuwa kuna vitu vingi ambavyo vinahusu wakina mama. Wakina mama walikuwa hawaruhusiwi kuingia kwenye maeneo ya machimbo. Wakina mama walikuwa hawawezi kusema nini ambacho kinawakuta, lakini kwa sasa hivi naweza nikaisema kwa sauti kubwa kabisa kwamba wakina mama sasa wanaingia kwenye maeneo ya uchimbaji. Wakina mama wanaelewa tunapoongelea sheria za madini, tunapoongelea haki zinazopatikana juu ya ardhi, juu ya sheria za madini, wakina mama wanafahamu. Kutokana na mekanizmu pia zilizowekwa na mradi wa SEED, naweza nikasema kuna kitu kimetengenezwa Geita inaitwa ni referral pathway, is a mechanism of referring cases in some people ambao key people in the community, mfano mapadri, mashehe, watu maarufu. Kwa hiyo referral pathway iliyowekwa imekuwa ikifanya kazi vizuri sana, na sisi kama shirika la NELICO na mimi mwenyewe kama mwanasheria ndani ya shirika tumekuwa tunapokea kesi hizo na kuhakikisha wakina mama ambao wanapata changamoto katika maeneo hayo wanaweza kusaidiwa. Kwa hiyo mimi kwa upande wangu nimepata experience kubwa sana kutokana na mafunzo tuliyopata. Nakumbuka Madam Aisha ameongelea swala la trauma lawyering ambayo ni training ilifanyika Mwanza. Ilikuwa ni training nzuri sana kwa sababu kama mwanasheria unaweza ukajikuta unashindwa kutatua changamoto kwa sababu aliyekuletea kesi amekuletea kesi ambayo pia na wewe inakuumiza kwa upande mmoja au upande mwingine. Kwa hiyo kwa upande wetu ilitujenga sana, imetusaidia sana, na mpaka sasa hivi eneo langu mimi la kazi ni upande wa sekta nzima ya uziduaji, lakini pia kusaidia wakina mama kuhusiana na swala zima la kupata haki katika maeneo yao, lakini kupata haki za ujumla katika maeneo ambayo wanatoka. Ila kuna jambo ambalo nimejifunza kwa elimu ambayo tumekuwa tukiitoa kupitia mobile clinics, lakini nimekuwa pia ni sehemu ya utekelezaji wa shughuli zote zinazofanyika katika mkoa wa Geita. Kuna jambo ambalo nimejifunza linakuja sio zuri sana, lakini ni vyema tukalitambua. Uelewa wa kina mama umekuwa mkubwa sana kwenye upande wa madini, lakini changamoto inayotokana na hapo ni kwamba kesi za utekelezaji wa kutelekeza familia imekuwa ni kesi nyingi sana. Kesi za divorce zimekuwa ni nyingi sana. Sasa I think it's a wake up call on our side kuona ni nini ambacho sisi tunaweza tukakifanya mbali na mambo mengine. Tuone ni kwa nini sasa kesi za divorce zimekuwa nyingi, lakini ni kwa nini sasa wakina mama wanatelekezewa familia, wakina baba wanakwenda kutafuta maeneo mapya, wanaacha maeneo. Kwa hiyo elimu imeenda, lakini inakuja na changamoto kama hizo. Hatujajua hasa tatizo kubwa ni nini katika eneo hilo, lakini from the experience elimu imeenda vizuri, wakina mama wanajua wanachokifanya. Lakini changamoto nyingine ambayo ipo, nadhani Profesa Majamba alikuwa ni sehemu ya kutengeneza hizi sheria ambazo tulizipata 2017. Ni ombi kwake na watu wengine ambao wametoka wizarani. Ambacho tumejifunza ni kwamba tunapoongelea public participation and the community engagement, tunahitaji involvement ya community from the grassroots, kwamba the community should air out their priorities, waseme na baadaye zile priorities ndio ziweze kufanyiwa kazi. Lakini from the experience, sheria yetu haijasema community inatakiwa kuwa engaged vipi, na wananchi hawapati nafasi ya kutoa maoni yao, hasa kwenye the so called CSR hawapati. Lakini mbali na kutokupata nafasi, the community cannot monitor what has been agreed between the local government authority and the investor. So I think it's a thing ambayo sisi tunatakiwa kuenda nayo baadaye, kuona ni namna gani wananchi wanaweza wakatengenezewa avenue ya kuweza kumonitor ile plan ambayo serikali imeingia na mdau kwenye swala zima la shughuli au uwezeshaji wa makampuni kijamii. Kwa hiyo kuna hiyo kwamba the community cannot monitor, but the community cannot participate fully in giving out their opinions and their priorities and development of social services which is catered by CSR. Na shukuru kwa kunisikiliza na asante. That is all on the side of my experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Quaresma.
Good morning, everyone. I had some slides, but I don't think it's very important whether I have them or not, because much of what I had on the slides has already been said. I've been asked to give some personal perspectives, as have the other speakers. My name, again, is John Stefaniak, and I'm a Canadian lawyer, and I'm here as a volunteer with the Canadian Bar Association, and work in a law firm in the middle of Canada, a law firm called Thompson, Dorfman, Sweatman, LLP. And and I represent different mining and forestry and other natural resource clients like Vale and Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting and the Canadian arm of Exxon on different kinds of matters in my area, and fertilizer manufacturers and others. And so occasionally I'm asked when I tell people about my involvement in the CERD project, and after they say, well, good on you for doing that, but why are you disrupting your practice for 2 weeks or a week or 2 weeks to go to Africa? What is the objective? What's the purpose of your doing so? And I think what we're seeing today is exactly what the purpose of doing so is. It is to be able to assist those who are members of the East African Law Societies, including the Law Society Tanganyika, by sharing some of our knowledge and some of our experience from Canada. Usually what I do is I would put up a slide that shows me standing on the middle of my frozen river behind my house in February, just to show that Canada is not Tanzania. Oh, it's on now. You can skip ahead if you wish. Yeah, go ahead. So those are some photos I've taken over the years, both in East Africa and Uganda and Tanzania and also in my home province. And you can see there are some pretty clear differences right there between our places where we live. We don't come here, and I certainly don't come here to preach and say that our way is the best way. We have our own issues in Canada and some of our own history. So our hope in participating in the process is to share our own experiences, to identify some international norms and practices, and hopefully attempt to identify best practices that can be of help to members of the East African Law Societies. Go ahead. So we heard about some of the expected outcomes, and it's tremendously satisfying to hear about the experiences among the law societies that we've visited and are participating with and we've helped with in terms of these exercises. Each of Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania are different in themselves. Each have different capacities. Each have different levels of extractive resource development. Each have different degrees and sophistication of legislation and regulation, and also in terms of numbers of advocates, availability of resources, education in the area, and also government involvement and capacity. So it's been an interesting exercise in that regard. We've heard how in Tanzania in particular, in Anasha, the TLS and EAL and CERD are working to increase sustainable economic growth with four national law reform briefs, one on equitable land assessment and expropriation, developing a gender-responsive toolkit for community development agreements, 5 regional law reform briefs and advocacy strategies, and improvement on women's and girls' application of gender sensitivity and accountability. So many of these things are similar to experiences we've had in Canada over the years. Canada's history in extractive resource development has not been perfect by any means. And we've had certain experiences, especially over the last 50 years perhaps less than that, in dealing with our indigenous communities. And we have to remember that it's only since 1982 that Canada patriated its constitution from the United Kingdom. And in that 1982 constitution, it included a section 35, which gives constitutional recognition to Aboriginal and treaty rights that are enjoyed by Indigenous people in Canada. And it's only since that time that our courts, in particular the Supreme Court of Canada, has interpreted the application of that constitutional protection and put flesh on the bones as a living principle. And that flesh on the bones included recognition that in order to advance the development of the country, these indigenous rights are not, they're constitutionally protected, but they're not absolute. And that the governments of Canada, both at the federal and provincial level, still had authority to regulate and sometimes restrict the exercise of those rights, provided that there was first consultation, and that consultation satisfied the fiduciary duty and honor of the Crown towards those Indigenous people. And that honor of the Crown stemmed back to the United Kingdom, stemmed back to the Royal Proclamation of 1763, where King George said, private individuals cannot enter these areas that are controlled by Indigenous people and take their property, that their land rights have to be surrendered by consent to the Crown, and only the Crown can accept those surrenders. And did so as fiduciary and trustee on behalf of those people, as it was developed in our later law, and that this created a solemn obligation on behalf of the Crown, both federal and provincial, towards those peoples to ensure that their rights were properly protected, and that they can only be reduced for the benefit of extractive resource development when there was consultation, where there was, if not agreement, at least ensuring that all concerns had been heard, that there were reasonable efforts to address those concerns, and where concerns could not be agreed upon, there were appropriate efforts to mitigate those concerns. And the courts have said in certain circumstances where it amounts to an expropriation of those concerns, of those interests, that there would have to be consultation. And more recent case law, where there's been so much resource development in an area that the remaining Indigenous rights to utilize the natural resources, to hunt and fish and trap and use the waterways, can no longer accommodate further resource development without destroying those rights, that there may be a need for agreement on behalf of those Indigenous people. A lot of that and the experience that has been used to do that consultation and to make those accommodations, and frankly to prevent protests and to not only satisfy the constitutional obligation of the Crown, but on behalf of proponents to be a good neighbor to the community, to operate equipment and to take on greater roles in the management operation of these facilities. All of this has evolved over time. So it's been a tremendous pleasure for me to do a small part in sharing these opportunities, to sharing our experiences, and to seeing the tremendous progress that has taken place. The number of trained advocates and trained lawyers is particularly sparking interest in those who might not have otherwise pursued this direction. Very satisfying to hear that. And that, to me, indicates some level of success in the project. Now what we're looking for is what can we do to continue the project and to bring it forward as the government priorities change over time, where the focus may be less upon extractive resources or less upon the feminist agenda, perhaps more on climate change issues, and how we can evolve the project and continue to provide support to the East African Law Societies, and frankly, from my perspective, to learn from you and your members and the members of the other East African Law Societies and gain those perspectives. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. Your time and input is highly valued and appreciated. When you said Canada has its own issues, guess what immediately came to my mind? Last year when your Prime Minister called an election in the middle of the pandemic, it was making the news and the headlines, you know, how he wanted to do an election in the middle of, you know, everything that was going on, just to prove a point. I don't know why that came to my mind, but it did. But
I think I can pretty safely say that the election was called because they had polling results that indicated that they would gain seats in Quebec. And they didn't have very good polling results. So after all the election, it was status quo with a couple of seats up and down for each of the parties after that. But it still extended the mandate, so they painted that as a success for the government.
Okay, thank you. Now we have next Miss Shakila Mayumana. She's preparing her slides, but she'll also share some feedback, lessons learned, experience from her participation as the gender advisor in the project. And to give you a brief of what will happen next after these presentations, we will have a 10 minutes coffee break. Thankfully, we are within time. And after the coffee break, just outside, you can go through this door, the one you came in with. There will be coffee outside on your left. And then we will reconvene at exactly 11 a.m. to proceed with our discussions on stakeholder source card, and I will give a brief explanation of what will happen at that session. But it's already on the timetable, so you can get yourself acquainted. Karibu, Ms. Shakila.
Asante. Good morning again. Like I introduced myself, my name is Shakila Mayumana. I am the gender advisor for SAID project, and I'll quickly go through my background and experience on the project. Like I've said before, that I've been engaged in the project since 2017, and I remember during the baseline study in 2017, there were some gender issues that were revealed through the findings, and one of them was that many women and girls' concerns were around issues of having no room in less room in negotiations, and also issues of access to land, issues of compensation, and also issues of royalty. And looking at the data, it was 63% of the respondents who said that. So in the course of responding to the findings of the baseline, I remember in the first National Forum in 2018, which was themed towards transparency, gender sensitivity, and accountability, it was agreed that moving forward, the project will be focusing on knowing the opportunities available within the project and within the country, so as to help to improve the participation of women in solving the issues that were raised in the baseline, and also the legal issues. And it was also envisioned that through the project implementation, those will also be solved, and also women will be on board in the value chain. And I'm glad that we have women here who will be giving their testimonies. So as a gender advisor, being in the project, I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that have been offered to me. I've learned, I've shared my experience and my skills, and through engaging in training, advocacy sessions with the paralegals, women groups, representatives, community champions, we have been able to share our experience, but also we've been able to hear from them. And normally when we are conducting these sessions, it was the facial expression, the rapport that was taking place in the training. It was showing us, or me as a person or the facilitator and the gender advisor, that there are so many issues in the communities. People need changes, but sometimes it was like opportunities or legal opportunities were not there. But through the training, legal trainings, talking about issues of gender commitment that this country has entered into, the participants were getting into the aha moment, which was very important to them, but also the sessions were giving them accountability as well, like accountability to both the government, but accountability to the individuals themselves. And also experience shared during the sessions helped to break the bias. And also participants were very open to share experience from the mining areas, especially those that affect women, like most of them coming from the negative social norms, believing that if women get into the mines, gold will disappear. Such beliefs were shared by the participants themselves, and we were discussing on how to get rid of the beliefs, but at the same time, giving the participants the role or the accountability to go back to the community and raise their awareness so that women can participate. Apart from that, the project is more focused on sustainability. That's why it involves building the capacity, but at the same time, helping the participants to go back to their community and share, making the women, the paralegals, and community champions be the change agents themselves. And they're being supported through PLE materials, which they're taking to their communities. And when we were getting back, participants were sharing experience on how the PLE materials have been helping their community members back home. And they were very transparent. When they needed some more help, they would ask, and the project manager and the facilitators were there to share with them on the way forward and also to refer to them on where they can get more help. Apart from that, as a person, like I've said, I've been facilitating, but I'm also a beneficiary of this project. By being in the project, just the way Baraka said, it motivated him to go for another cause. For me, it also motivated me to contest for a position in the Tanzania Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative under EITI, and I managed to win and became the representative on gender in the multi-sectoral group, but that was because of this project. So as I was giving, I also received. So I've served, but it was all backed up through being in this project. So I thank you so much, CBA. I thank you so much, TLS, for the trust you have given me. Because I have some challenges that will not allow me to be here tomorrow, I have decided to share a bit about from the theme that we have today and the project and the current context. We understand, I'm a gender person, so this is a Women's Month. We have the global theme, Gender Equality Today for Sustainable Tomorrow, and our project also talks about sustainability, sustainable inclusive resource development, and also looking at the theme that we have today, the inclusive extraction from inclusive extraction to environmental accountability, the role of sustainable communities in addressing climate change. So I thought I should connect these two, that we are moving from the SEED project, but where do we go from here? So that's why I've decided to look at the global theme for International Women's Day, recognizing that women and girls around the world are leading a charge on climate change, adaptation, issues of mitigation and response, and they should also take a charge or take a lead in building a more sustainable future for all. And this is global. There are times, I remember in one of the sessions, I can't remember exactly, but there were the participants from Canada who shared experience, Canadian experience, which most participants, or most of us who were there, realized that it was somehow similar to the situation that we're facing here. Different contexts, but similar challenge. So if we want to advance gender equality in the context of climate crisis and putting into consideration the issue of COVID, we have to make sure that women are on board. And though I've taken this from the UN website, but I also thought that though it is from the UN website, but it also applies in our case. And for those who have the access to the baseline report, you can go to page 44. You'll see what the issues that women shared during the baseline. So connecting to this year's theme, I am proposing that moving forward, we should think of issues of helping women and girls to have voice in terms of issues of environmental impact, so so that they can be the sustainable agents of change. That can be one of them. But also, I know we've moved from the Beijing conference and we're now in the Generation Equality Forum. So moving forward, Tanzania our president has committed into the Generation Equality Forum, whereby as a country, we'll be taking a lead on National Action Plan for economic justice and rights. When we're talking about economic justice and rights, we have to make sure that we have to think of the extractive industry sector, because that is the economic part of it. But also we have to think of solving all these things, issues of climate change, adaptation, etc., by giving women taking the lead, girls having the agency and the voice, because that will be part of the rights. And I know, moving forward, we have to recognize the power that we have, and also we have to tap on the opportunities that are available. So as we continue to, now that we have included women and other marginalized groups into the system through the project, we have to think of the opportunity that we have as a country. For the first time in Tanzania, we have a female president who is so committed in issues of gender equality. And the best opportunity for us to tap, Professor, I remember during the law review, is to do systemic changes. Because today we have a female president. We understand, we are celebrating that he is passionate about gender equality. Tomorrow might come another president who is not passionate about issues of gender equality. But if we do systemic changes towards gender equality, both men, women, girls, and boys will be enjoying in the country, but also we'll be having climate-friendly environment where different groups are part. Thank you very much. That is all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Madam Shakila Mayumana. That was very informative and comprehensive. Thank you for sharing your insights and your recommendations as a way forward as we conclude the project. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we will have concluded the second session before the coffee break, and we have done it well within time. 5 minutes before, if my watch is not lying to me. Oh. That's very good. I am glad we are keeping time. I hope we proceed with that throughout the day. And all of you now are invited for the coffee break, 10 minutes outside the tent. And then we will resume at exactly 11 a.m. Or shall we come back earlier since we're on time? How are you feeling it? Earlier? Are we up to coming back in earlier? Yes. Am I hearing a yes or no? 11 a.m. is fine? 11 a.m. Let's reconvene at 11 a.m. Thank you very much.